I understand now. Senator Black.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Honourable colleagues, I rise once again now at third reading to ask for your support for Bill C-234, an act to amend the Greenhouse Gas Pollution Pricing Act, albeit as amended. As you might anticipate, I first want to express my frustration and my deep disappointment that this bill has been amended twice, especially given that these amendments were previously debated, as has been noted at committee, and voted down in this chamber of sober second thought when my honourable colleagues voted down the AGFO committee report. The industry was very thankful to those colleagues who did not support that report. I heard from many ag stakeholders who supported this action a few weeks ago, and I expect that many of you who voted it down did as well. Then, while at COP28 in Dubai last week, I was awakened during the night last week to a number of emails coming in from stakeholders who expressed significant disappointment in the passing of the first of what now has been 2 amendments passing in this chamber. I too was disappointed to hear that a majority of our colleagues supported an amendment similar to the one in the AGFO report that this very chamber voted down. Colleagues, while at COP28 it became very evident that the decision made in the chamber last week reverberated beyond our borders and around the world, I heard the disappointment in the amendment from many stakeholders who I met and ran into at COP28 in Dubai. FYI, colleagues, to date, since this bill has been in the Senate, I've received over 2,500 emails, 100 letters, and 2,000 plus emails from farmers, ranchers, and growers who have all shared their support for an unamended Bill C-234. And since last week, a number have reached out again to express their disappointment about the amended bill. They have used words such as, and comments like, and I quote, "The Senate is being obstructionist," end quote. Quote, "The Senate lacks the understanding of our issues," end quote. Quote, "Some senators are truly misinformed," end quote. And quote, "The Senate has a disdain for farmers, doesn't it?" End quote. And quote, "It's time to get rid of the Senate." Colleagues, these comments bother me greatly. I'm not proud of what has transpired here in the Senate chamber over the past few weeks with respect to Bill C-234. We have failed a very important segment of our Canadian population, and I remain concerned that I have not done my job well enough in the chamber as a senator representing agriculture in Canada, and because that's what I was asked to do when I was asked by the Prime Minister to come into the Senate. While I believe it is now severely flawed, and the industry agrees with this statement, we must pass this bill now so that it can be returned to our elected officials who voted in support of the original bill as soon as possible, so that they can decide if they will accept this amended bill or not. And while I can be hopeful that something might come of it, and we'll see it back here in its original form, as my honourable colleague Senator Wells has already pointed out, it could be a long and difficult road ahead for this amended bill in the other place. Canadian farmers, ranchers and growers are the losers in this process. Honourable colleagues, by supporting this amended bill in support of grain drying only being done by farmers across Canada, we are still able to demonstrate our commitment to fostering a nurturing environment for our farmers, our ranchers and growers, allowing them to thrive and continue to do the essential work of feeding our great nation. Although, and I will state this again, it is extremely unfortunate that this bill has been amended, we must still continue to show our support for the thousands of farmers who remain included. Colleagues, farmers are progressive. They are determined, ambitious, and interested in engaging in innovative and new technologies for the advancement of the agricultural industry. Farmers understand the importance of innovation and progressiveness in their fight against climate change, and they will continue to innovate as they continue to go forward. But this can't be done easily by limiting their fiscal capacities and forcing them to bear the burden of an unfair tax on their livelihood. It cannot be done by adding burdensome regulations that continue to be discussed and considered by this government now and into the future. Honourable colleagues, I respectfully request that you vote in favour of this amended bill for your farmers and your local producers. Pass this bill now to show support for farmers, ranchers and growers who provide for us 3 times a day, 7 days a week, 365 days each year. Whatever your reason, all I ask is that you vote in favour of those farmers, ranchers and growers who are still going to benefit from the measures of an amended Bill C-234. They are begging the government for relief from the burden of carbon tax. Together we can ensure a brighter and more prosperous future for some within this industry, and by extension support those who continue to provide for each of us each and every day. Thank you. Merci. Miigwech.
Senator Dean.
Thank you, Speaker. First of all, I'd just like to say in response to our friend and colleague Senator Black that farmers and ranchers and growers could have no better advocate for their interests and for the issues faced by that community than you, Senator Black, and I think many, if not all, would agree with that. I'm going to